It feels weird to welcome you to the YouTube channel when I'm in your studio, but welcome to my YouTube channel.
Thank you, sir. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. High energy, as you always are, which is great. So, yeah, I just want to talk about your life, your experiences. You've got a new book out, which I've got on, well, it's ordered. It's not been delivered yet.
Beautiful.
But
well, guess what? I had 10 copies. There's 10 copies over there. 10 copies right over there. I'll give you one, and I'll sign it, and I'll draw a Willie in it if you want.
Sounds, I love them. Yeah, happy for that. So,
I thought you were going to say I love Willies there.
Well, that's true as well. So, yeah, we'll jump straight into it. It's going to be good. And we're doing a little side...
Oh, a little side plug for the boys' new tonic brand. Not that they need our help.
No, they do not. No. So, yeah, it's good. Yeah, I'm just going to start straight in your story.
Beautiful.
So, bit context for viewers. So you, well, I'll just let you give your own context.
Holy shit, this could take a long time.
Yeah.
So I've been in business 24 years. I got sacked from a job in 2001, actually. So 23 years.
What was the job?
Going on 24 years. I worked in a gym.
Okay.
As a gym instructor. Yeah. / lifeguard / aqua aerobics instructor / equipment cleaner. Yeah. Back then I got sacked and I just went on this journey. I mean, 24 years later, I was still kind of doing it. Right now I'm 2 times master coach of the year. I coach businessmen all over the world on how to grow their business and get their shit together. Mentally, physically, emotionally, and obviously financially. I'm a 2 times best-selling author now. I speak on stages all over the world. I do a little bit of stand-up. I'm a dad, I've got 2 kids, and I'm a husband. Everything in between is a little bit of a blur, but I've done quite a lot of mad shit and made it all up as I went along.
Yeah. So one of like the core elements of your story is around mindset, mental health as well. And one of the things which I really resonate with you and have for years is that self-responsibility, truly taking ownership of who you are, your situation, and everything that's led to where you are right now, and then moving forward as well.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of look at that 2014 period of your life, which obviously everybody always does.
Yeah.
One question I've not seen asked, which I thought might be interesting, is a lot of what you talk about is about having goals, having a purpose, having a mission. You don't like really the word goal because you think it's lacking, and I agree. Yeah.
It's just boring and a bit and a bit cookie cutter, and I'm like a mission or an animal to hunt. I love that saying.
I love that.
Got an animal to hunt.
You've got a few sayings which I love, and that's one of them. So when you were in that state in 2014, diagnosed with bipolar, looking at the top of a cliff thinking, I want to jump off here, which is a very real emotion, very raw emotion, which a lot of people have probably experienced. But one of the things I want to anchor into or think about is you were quite successful up until that point. And one of the things you talk about is having a mission, having something to hunt. So in Marbella, when you built this fitness business, that it sounds to me almost like, reading between the lines, that almost helped feed into that moment in 2014.
Oh mate, 100%. I was successful beyond my wildest dreams. I mean, when I got sacked from that job, you're talking, so 2014, that is 13, 14 years later, and I'm living in Marbella in a 4-bedroom villa with a private pool, hot wife, 2 amazing kids, the car that I always wanted, and I wasn't even busy. Like at that point, I'd been able to kind of not exit, but I was kind of hands off quite a bit. I had a supplement company that I sold the year after, and it's mad because 2014 was actually the year that I made my first million.
Wow, yeah.
Which, that's kind of no coincidence. The mad part is, I had all that success, and I just couldn't figure out why I was so unhappy all the time, unfulfilled, uninspired, unmotivated. And I kind of, again, from the outside looking in, you know what it's like. Because I still get them comments now. Well, you had everything. What are you got to be unhappy about? I'm like, dude, that's got nothing to do with it. Same people will be saying, well, money doesn't make you happy. Same people. But I throw away fucking quotes. But ultimately, I think there was a couple of reasons. Number one was I wasn't doing anything to support my mental health. I didn't know anything about it. I wasn't doing anything to support my physical health. I'd gained 5 stone. I'd been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and anxiety disorder and ADHD. Pretty much back to back, those 3 things. I've been diagnosed with those things, but I wasn't doing anything about it. But the second piece, which you mentioned, which I'm kind of convinced is at least part of the men's mental health epidemic right now, is that I had no sense of purpose.
Yeah.
You think about that, you're almost like, well, why am I here? That's what a lack of purpose feels like. Why am I here? What's the point? What am I doing? Is this it? Those were a lot of the thoughts that I was having, because I achieved everything that I'd set out to do business-wise, and location-wise and adventure-wise and finance-wise when I'd set those goals all them years ago, but it felt nothing like what I thought it would.
Yeah.
It felt nothing like what I thought it would. And again, anybody that I've interviewed on my podcast, and we've had some big fucking boyos on there, and they've pretty much been the same. They've achieved something and they're like, is this it? What's next? And it's like, we stop striving, we stop going forward. And ultimately your attention, and you have to be, you're moving anyway through time and through life and whatever, but most of us just end up going around in circles.
Yeah.
And that's as exhausting as not having goals. And
yeah.
I discovered this concept actually not that long ago. It makes a lot of sense. It's called learned helplessness. This is where you've tried to change something so many times that you've just stopped because you think, well, what's the point? I can't change it. I can't do anything to change my life. I can't impact it. I can't do anything to change the way that I feel. And even though I had all this business success, that's what I felt like mentally. I can't change the way that I feel. And the bipolar label, diagnosis, actually made it worse for me. Because I'm like, well, I've got bipolar.
It's almost an excuse that you can...
Yeah, it became a bit of a crutch. It became a bit of a label. It became, for a little while, it became part of my identity. So I'd go missing for fucking 3 days on a cocaine binge and on a booze binge. And my justification would be, well, I've got bipolar. This is the only way I can feel anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And that just became a full justification. But this concept of men lacking a sense of purpose, something to strive for, something to move towards, I believe is one of the biggest reasons why men are struggling these days.
Yeah.
And it's not a lack of talking that has them depressed.
Yeah.
It's something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me, man.
Do you think there is a men's mental health crisis? We hear that sometimes. Do you think it's actually fairly simple solutions? Do you think it's complex solutions?
Ooh, that's a great question, man. Here's what I know. There's never been as much support. There's never been as much awareness. There's never been as many charities. There's never been as many helplines. There's never been as many support groups. There's never been as many coaches, mentors, psychologists. Never been as much help. Yet nothing's improving. Mm-hmm. So clearly something is broken somewhere along the lines. And for me, one of those things, and I've said this a lot, one of those things is this thing of, well, just talk about it and that'll fix it. Mm. That's fucking untrue, man. What do you say? Yeah. Who do you say it to? You already feel like a burden, so now you feel like you're passing it on to somebody else. Yeah. What if one of the solutions is, listen, how about we just realize that I've created this and I didn't even try. Yeah, yeah. Like, I've created this. And the problem is with that, though, is that involves taking some responsibility, and not everybody's ready for that. Yeah, yeah. When I say that to people, they'll react one of two ways. Oh, fucking hell. I'm responsible for this. Or, oh, I'm responsible. It's going to go one of two ways. And ultimately, like, the other thing that people are doing is they're drinking and taking cocaine and then wondering why they're depressed and all over the place mentally. No one wants to address that issue. Yeah. So...
And why they've got anxiety the next day.
Got anxiety the next day. Of course, you filled yourself full of fucking... Yeah. You filled yourself full of the devil's fucking dandruff all weekend. Yeah, yeah. Of course you're rough. Do you know what I mean? Your body's got to deal with that. So mental health needs physical support. People need a mission. And talking may be a start. It may be the thing for some people. But for most men, you think about that. They don't have a talking deficiency. Mm-hmm. Something else going on. It's not a lack of talking that has led them to where they're at. Yeah. Talking might be the start and a snowball or whatever. But ultimately, something has to change. And again, I'm not 100% sure what that is. But I'd hazard a guess to say that one of those three things, or all three combined, would transform men's mental health. I
think talking, having been through a lot of therapy myself in the past, it can open up a doorway to self-reflection. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have self-awareness and self-reflection, then nothing's going to change anyway. You can't even take self-responsibility.
Agree. And sometimes, even when I'm coaching someone, Lewis, like, all I'm doing is asking a question. Yeah. I'm asking a question. They are doing the talking. Yeah. But the question's got to be one that is a hard question, a difficult question for them to answer. Not like, tell me about your past that you can't change. Do you know what I mean? That's what most therapy, that's what it seems to be based around. Tell me about your past. Next week, tell me about your past. Yeah. Why do you think that happened? Now, I have no problem with looking at the past and changing the frame. Yeah, yeah. Or changing the meaning. Or changing how you perceive the past as a gift, or you got something from it, or you benefited from it in some way, or there was a hidden lesson in there and you grew from it. Like, that was what created where you're at right now, going through that difficulty. But ultimately, the talking... You got to be getting asked the right questions. Yeah. And I think when you're asking questions which lead to empowerment, one of my core values with everything I do is about empowering people. And I remember being in therapy and certain shit happened to me in childhood or whatever, which we've all had. But it became every week was, well, that's because that happened to you. And I just got really bored of that.
I was like, okay, great. Yeah, that did happen. And okay, now I understand where certain patterns of behavior have developed from, but I'm responsible now for changing that pattern.
I can't blame that.
Yeah.
I can learn from it. I can actually gain for it. So Robbins would have jumped. You said things happened to me. Robbins would have went, no, that happened for you.
Yeah.
You would say that.
Which I do believe as well.
You don't have to believe that. But man, I've worked with people. I'm working with people right now who haven't seen their kids for 19 months because I'm married to a narcissist. I'm working with people that have had their fucking brother murdered. Yeah. I'm having people whose partner killed themselves. I'm working with people who have cancer 3 times in 1 year. One of my clients has had cancer, right? And I'm working with these people. And I'm like, if these guys can grow from that and gain strength from that and gain fire from that, like, someone talking shit about you behind your back isn't that big a deal, mate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, if these guys can take it on, when guys come into my program and they start acting the victim, I just can't do it and it's too hard and the journal's too hard. I'm like, dude, man, this situation is not, I can't think of a single situation. And at some level, I've been coaching for 23 years. Since I went into business, my first job was as a fitness coach. I stopped doing that in 2012. I did business. I've done all the coaching. And I can't think of a single situation that is unique. I can't think of a single challenge that someone I've worked with hasn't been through. There's not many. So if we've got these thousands of stories and hundreds of people that have overcame adversity, like, well, that's not that big a deal when you think about it.
Yeah, and I think there's something I've noticed over the years is people who have had big difficulties, big trauma, big whatever, they tend to be able to push through more than people who don't.
Yeah, because that discomfort that they've had in the past, that builds strength.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Lewis, sorry.
That's right.
But you think about it, if you want to get strong, you've got to get under a bar that's heavy.
Yeah.
It's got to hurt. It's got to be difficult. It's got to be challenging. It's got to burn a little bit. You've got to doubt whether you can lift it or not.
Yeah. And
that's where strength's built.
I'm about to absolutely butcher a quote, but it's about society, and it's tough times equal strong men. Strong men create easy times. Easy times create weak men. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. And I think that's
I know exactly
very,
which one
very
you
true.
mean. But I'm not going to say anything because I would butcher it even worse. But yeah, it's true, man. Like I work with a lot of people, and people come towards me, Paul, I want more. If I had more confidence, if I had more self-belief, then I would do it. I don't have any self-belief. I'm like, you never do anything hard.
Yeah.
You never do anything hard. Why would you believe in yourself if you've never done the hard thing?
And
why would you have confidence if you've never done the hard thing?
Yeah. And if, again, some of the stuff that you say that I love, it's how could you have that confidence if you never honour your word?
Yeah.
How are you going to do it?
Huge.
If you can't even finish a bloody book and it's sat by your bedside table or sat somewhere, you've never finished that flipping book. Yeah. How are you building any internal trust?
Yeah, mate, I'm on this at the minute. I've been on this for the last 3 weeks. I've been on this concept of trust, and I believe that reliability is the currency of trust, and most people are unreliable. Yeah. That people can't depend on them. Yeah. They can't depend on themselves. People can't rely on them. They can't stick to their word. And then also, I dropped this quote this morning, which was, excuses are the language of the unreliable. Yeah. But also, it's not just about how other people perceive you. I can't think of anything worse. This is my worst nightmare. My kids believing that I was unreliable. Yeah. That I couldn't be counted on. That when I say stuff, I don't mean it. Yeah. Like that literally, I've got goosebumps thinking about how bad that could go for me. I'd hate that. Same with my wife. If my wife thinks I'm unreliable, she's not going to trust me to make these big decisions. I asked, so right now I'm coaching 80 women. I kind of have this women bullied me into coaching them basically, right? But they're obviously a unique kind of woman, right? And I asked them, ladies, is reliability attractive from a man? They're like, oh, fucking yeah. Like, it's attractive. And unreliability for a woman, unreliability in a man. And I didn't know this. I've never been a woman. I've tried. It wasn't for me. But like, unreliability, they're like, that's so unattractive. So I'm basically saying, guys, listen, if you're not getting your dick sucked, it's because you're unreliable.
Yeah. That's true.
It's the truth.
Because reliability is stability as well.
It is.
So I mean, we're making massive generalizations here, but actually anyone in a relationship wants some form of stability and reliability. So if I'm in a relationship, I don't want stress. I don't want anxiety.
And you want trust.
Yeah, you want trust.
The more promises you break, the more agreements you don't stick to, the more times you say something and do the fucking complete opposite, the less the trust will be. And that's the same with your clients.
I'm going to empty the dishwasher, and then the dishwasher's not empty.
And those small things start.
It sounds like a small thing, but it does add up.
I actually just stopped making those promises. I'm not even kidding. I stopped making the promises. Now I have this concept of like, I'm going to consider what I'm committing to before I commit to it, rather than just saying yes. Yeah. Actually, do you know what? I've said I'm going to do that loads of times. I'm not going to do it. Yeah. I'll get someone else. I'll hire someone else to do it. And that's not the thing for everybody. Yeah. But it's this other concept, this new T-shirt thing that I've got, which is never miss twice. Yeah. Missing once, missing a deadline, not making an agreement, breaking a promise to yourself or someone else once, that's human. Yeah. Twice is a pattern starting to develop. Yeah. So I'm reminding clients, only from Friday actually, listen, never miss twice, never miss twice, never miss twice. Your reliability becomes your identity, or your unreliability becomes your identity. Reliability is the perception that people have. It's your reputation.
It's like a business card, but it's there or it's not.
It is.
And as soon as you lose it, it's lost.
And you see people trying to build a business on social media. They'll be all in for a week and then disappear for 2. Yeah, yeah. They'll start email marketing. They'll email 4 or 5 times, disappear for 2 weeks, and then email 3 or 4 times. And that demonstrates that if someone found your brand for the first time, they found you on social media for the first time, what would they see? Yeah. Would they see solid, consistent dependability, or would they see scattered, random inconsistencies? Yeah. And that's for potential clients. Current clients, we asked our clients last week, if someone came and watched you and your business for a week and how it operated, would they be desperate to sign up with you, or would they walk away without saying anything? Yeah. And this is the example of a hard question that I asked earlier. I was asking these questions on the stage on Friday, and I felt guilty asking them because I could see people going, oh, shit. Yeah, yeah. But this is it. And again, 2 ways to take that. I said at the start of that keynote, I said, some of you might want to walk out of the room at some point in this talk. But that is feedback. That is a wake-up call. That's an alarm clock. Yeah, yeah. That's something has to change. We asking questions like, if we asked your wife a question, is your husband reliable, inconsistent, or unreliable?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Hard. Yeah. Most of them would sit in the inconsistent area, a lot of us are. And that's a skill, actually. I think reliability is a skill. And then it was like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how reliable would your kids say you were, and would you be proud of that number? Just all of these questions were really eye-opening for people. And the big one, this is when I knew it was a good question. I didn't even look at them when I read it. Yeah. This question was, if people were judging you on your appearance, physically, and your energy, would they see you as someone that was solid and dependable, or someone that was weak and inconsistent? Oof. That is, I felt so bad asking it. Yeah, yeah. But I could see people fidgeting in the seat because they're uncomfortable. But being uncomfortable is good. It makes you want to fucking move. It makes you want to do something different. Yeah. But again, people do judge you on your appearance, whether we're seeing it or not. Oh, it's a judgment-free zone. It is not. That's how we form opinions. Yeah, yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's how we form opinions. People do judge you on your appearance. They do judge you on the energy that you bring. So what does it say about you? But yeah, this reliability thing, honestly, I'm on it at the minute. I came up with another one, which was nagging. If you're getting nagged by customers, you get nagged by potential clients because you're not following up or whatever, you get nagged by your wife and your kids, nagging is the ringtone of the unreliable. Oh, wow, yeah. it's good at that. Yeah, I just said it off the cuff. They're like, holy shit, Paul, say that again. Yeah, yeah. I can't remember what I said, but nagging is the ringtone of the unreliable. It's a really good one. And I think going back to something of yours I've seen as well, when people talk about their other halves, their significant others, and we're talking about energy we give, I think a lot of business owners are very guilty, and I'm definitely guilty of this. I give everything to my business, to my clients, and then I'm home and I'm tired. Yes. I'm quiet. Yes. I'm not giving what I would give to other people, and they see that. Yeah. And they're like, why aren't you giving me what you give out here? Yeah. And there is a balance there, because you can't be on all the time. Nah. You are allowed to have a downtime. But I had this conversation last week, Lewis, and it's really interesting. People are like, when I get home on the night time, I'm really tired. And I'm like, actually, this is it. He was like, oh my God. You're supposed to be tired on a night time. Yeah. And he was like, what? I'm like, think about it. On a night time is when you go to sleep. You're supposed to be tired. Yeah, yeah. But it doesn't mean you have to be tired and grouchy or tired and grumpy. Because I can be physically tired. Sometimes, today, fucking hell, I had a jiu-jitsu session yesterday over the road. And I did 2 rounds with a guy that was 105 kilos and good. And I was ruined last night. Yeah. And I'm tired today. But ultimately, I can shift my energy by what I'm focused on. I can be physically tired. But it doesn't mean I have to be grumpy and grouchy and down in the dumps and irritated and like a ticking time bomb, because I can change my energy physically and mentally by just what I'm focused on. So I ask all the time about energy because I am high energy. Yeah.
I was going to say, so how do you do that mentally? So a lot of my work, I teach people, I train people, it's a skill. Yeah. So the skill I'm teaching people takes my mental energy. Yes. So a lot of the time I'm the flip. So I'm physically fine,
Yes.
but mentally I'm drained.
Yeah, I get it.
So I get to the end of the day and I'm mentally drained, and then I've got to have conversations. We've got to do life admin. We've got to do this. So what's something you do to kind of flip into... I learned
this thing. The first quote I heard on it was in 2015, I would say. I was on a flight back from Laguna Beach, and I've been recommended a book actually called The Automatic Millionaire, which is a fucking great book, by the way. Great book. And there was a quote in it that just said, where attention goes, energy flows, and results show. T.R. Becker, right? And I was that's dynamite. Yeah. It was literally the first. You know when a book starts with a quote by someone else? Yeah. And I think it was audio as well. And I was like, shit, that's amazing. Yeah. And then last year, from 2022, I've done a lot of work with Dr. Joe Dispenza. I'm not into all of it. But he has a concept which is where you place your attention is where you place your energy. So I just get in. I did a podcast last night with a friend of mine in Seattle, and he was talking about getting in the mental weight room. We wouldn't call it weight room, we call it the gym, right? We get in the mental gym, and I have just trained myself to place my attention. In other words, think about, focus on, talk about, write about, read about things that energize me. Yeah. It's as simple as it is. What energizes me? What's working? What progress I'm making? Who I'm impacting? What I want? What I'm most excited about? Yeah. That's it. Excitement is one of the most energizing feelings. So I am excited because I'm excited about my future. I'm excited about what I'm creating. I'm excited about what's coming tonight. I'm excited about jiu-jitsu at 6 p.m. I wrote that down this morning. What are you most excited about today? And today I have a great day. Yeah. I've got 2 podcasts, I've got 3 Zoom sessions, and I've got jiu-jitsu at 6. That's what I'm most excited about. Tomorrow I'll ask the same question. What am I most excited about today? Yeah. Tomorrow we've got Jay Alderton coming and delivering a day for our clients. Then we've got rugby on the night. So much shit going on that I'm excited about. And that's such a simple question. If I ask someone, tell me one thing that you're most excited about. I ask my kids this all the time, but my son's a teenager, so he's just grunts at me, right? So I'll just go, and he'll, not excited about anything. I'm like, well, if you had to choose one thing, what would it be? And you always find something. And as soon as you ask somebody tell me something exciting about your life that's going on right now, they do what I'm doing. They start talking faster. They start becoming more animated. Yeah. You can feel that their energy starts to pick up. Yeah. And all I've done is shift their attention. That's all I've done. Questions are the steering wheel of the mind. So if you want to change your attention, you've got to ask better questions. Yeah, yeah. And this is why often I don't think therapy works. Where's your attention? On your past. Yeah, what's it on? The shit parts. Yeah. How is that going to make you feel any better? Yeah. So I'm like, okay, let's have a look at that, and I'll just frame it differently. Yeah. So I believe the difference between optimism and pessimism is just how you explain things to yourself. So I can feel great about things that have happened for me. I feel cheesy saying that. I can feel great about things that have happened in my past that at the time were bad, that I hated, that were disappointing, that made me angry, that got me aggressive, that made me lose my shit. And I can look at it and just ask a different question. Yeah. And I can feel very different about it. I can feel grateful for it and feel appreciative of it. I'm like, fucking hell, I'm glad that happened. Some of the worst things that happened to me have led me to where I am right now. Yeah. Which is fine. Yeah. Like I wouldn't have been here unless I'd... Think about this. In 2014, holy shit, I had 2 businesses that didn't even need me much. I had a marketing business that was like an old school newsletter, like Dan Kennedy style newsletter, right? That was making big money. I had the supplement company that didn't require me all of the time. Some would say my business model is better than the one that I have now. I was working less. Yeah. But ultimately, if I didn't go through that rock bottom period, those suicidal tendencies, those thoughts about ending my own life, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. So I can look at it like that and be actually, well, that business model was better, but I fucking love what I do now. Yeah. And better in what sense? So if you're thinking about fulfillment, you're thinking about passion, you're thinking about purpose. Yes. Yeah. Businesses like that, okay, that from a purely business perspective, maybe easier to make the money, less input from me, I can be not involved. Hands off, yeah. Is that really what you want, though? I don't particularly like being hands off. Exactly. I like having freedom, and I'd like to think I have a lot of freedom. I mean, we were just talking before. We said 4-day work week, but it's probably 3.5. Because I work half day on a Friday unless we have an event. Yeah. But it's not like that all the time. For example, if I go on holiday, I don't use my phone at all. There's no email, nothing. I'm uncontactable. Yeah. But that means the week before, I have to eat a little bit of shit. I have to make sure the team are ready to handle everything. I have to make sure the sales team and the marketing team have things taken over for me so it's working when I'm not there. I have to make sure my clients have trainings to watch while I'm not there because I'm not there to deliver the Zooms. Yeah. So that week I'm after eat shit, but I'm okay with that. But I still love freedom, but hands off. I was talking to one of my best friends about it. He said, when are you going to retire? I was like, well, I don't think I ever will. No. I don't think I ever will. I'd like to be maybe out in 3 or 4 years' time. I probably could. But ultimately, I can't see myself doing nothing. I would cause so much trouble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would look for trouble. I'd look for problems that don't exist, because I think I have a problem-solving brain. That's why we're in business. We solve other people's problems. We solve our own problems. So if you take that away from me, I'll create problems.
Yeah.
I'll make them. I'll create ones that don't even exist.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So if we go back to 2014 for a moment.
Yeah.
So for me, it's almost like don't meet your heroes, or almost don't fulfill what you've been told you should fulfill. So I was a trader, learned how to trade financial markets. After 7 months, left my job. And then now what? I've done it. I've done the thing. I've said what I was going to set out to do, achieve that thing. And then I was a bit like lost at sea. And I didn't know what to do. So then I had to re-find purpose, re-find passion. And trading was never a passion, it was a vehicle. And so I'm wondering if back for you, when you built that business, it was a great business model. You'd achieved what you were almost told to achieve, like don't be too involved.
4-hour work week.
4-hour work week.
Yeah,
like
live wherever you want.
Possible,
Coffee shop entrepreneur.
Yeah. So you hit the dream. You'd achieve the dream. I'm not going to say the American dream, but the entrepreneur's dream. And then it didn't really work.
Is this it? No. I didn't know about myself then. There was no self-awareness. I sacrificed everything to make the money thing. I sacrificed everything to get there, and it was almost like it was leaning against the wrong building when I got against the top. But actually, when I think about it, there's just kind of so many other things missing from my life. Like, I was out of shape. So the shift, here's the truth. The shift into what I'm doing now happened by accident. I had no plan. I stumbled into it. 2014, I worked with a guy called Garrett J. White. Good friend of mine. Woke me up a lot. He has a program called Wake Up Warrior, and fuck me, he woke me up. And I set out, I probably disappeared from social media for like 18 months to get my shit together. I changed mentally, I changed physically, my fucking voice changed, I lost 5 stone, I got into shape.
How did your voice change? I want to go back to
my voice just like got deeper. My voice just changed, the way that I talk changed. My whole, I wouldn't say my personality changed, but I definitely evolved. And people ask me how I did it. How have you done this? Can I get on in this? And then I dropped that clip video and everyone was like, how have you done it? What have you done? You're describing what I'm going through. And I just was like, and I remember actually the last time I went to Wake Up Warrior, Garrett said to me, he said, Paul, you should be coaching men. And I was like, no, I don't want to get back in that game. It fucking nearly killed me last time. I hated coaching. I hated this. And he's like, no, you have to do this. And I kept putting it off and putting it off. And then I kind of fell into it. People who I'd worked with in the past. So clearly I had some level of influence in the fitness industry. That's how I met James Smith. And a lot of the contacts from that game, my first few clients came what I call legacy clients. I still get that now. There are still people that look at Smith and be like, I want to work with a guy that he worked with 11 years later. Wow. Do you know what I mean? I still have that legacy in that industry. I still get invited to speak at the biggest events in that game, which is just mental to me. But obviously there's people that followed me through that journey. And when I kind of came back and they were like, who the fuck is this guy? Who is this guy?
Are they all Irish as well?
What about you? So they just were like, how do I get in on, I don't know what you're doing, Paul, but how do I get it? Like, what have you got? Why are you so different? What's this energy about? How are you doing this? What's your, like, I want the lifestyle. I'm like, fuck it, let's go. And I kind of just made up different versions of the program. The first program that I had made was 36 hours, no sleep.
Wow.
Would make people fight each other on the beach. All the stuff that had worked in Wake Up Warrior. Then it evolved in, okay, we're going to do these 3 days and then we'll do a 90-day follow-up. And then it was 90 day, 90 day, 90 day. And then it's just evolved into what we're doing now. Over time.
So I was going to ask you, and you've kind of answered this, but I'm going to ask you it again anyway and see if something else comes out. So what are 2 really powerful questions that you would ask somebody that would make immediate change in their life now?
So 2 questions that I would ask. I'm a big believer in this concept of, if you can't do it for you, do it for them. So one of the things I love to ask, particularly with guys that come towards me, is, listen, who needs you to step up right now? Who else needs you to step up? That's what I would call big leverage. Big leverage, because a lot of guys, when they're struggling to change their life, it's often they don't feel like they deserve it, or they don't feel like they can, or they've learned that helplessness, which is there's no point in doing anything. So I'm like, well, all right then, who needs you to step up? And because that's what happens a lot of the time. You think about a lot of the biggest achievement in our lives have involved other people. We've overcame things for them. So that's one of the first things I ask is, who needs you to step up right now? And one of the most simple questions I'd ask is, well, what do you want? Because people get obsessed with, what they don't want. They get obsessed with how they don't want to feel. When someone comes to me and they're struggling, I'll go, well, what do you want? Well, I don't want this. I'm like, I didn't ask you what you didn't want. How do you want to feel? Well, not like this. I'm like, I didn't ask you how you didn't want to feel. I'm asking you what you want. If you don't know what you want, that's a challenge. Now, if you don't know what you want, sometimes it's useful to know what you don't want. Sometimes, because usually you want the opposite of that. So then I'll start going. I do realize I'm throwing loads of questions at you here because I don't think there's the two best ones. It would depend on the context. So sometimes I'll go, if we were having this conversation 6 months from today, and we were looking back over the previous 6 months, what would have to have happened for you to be happy with your progress? That's it. Because sometimes what you want seems like a deadline. It seems like an end goal. It seems like an end point, where actually what you want tends to be like the horizon. It keeps moving forward. So I'm obsessed with like progress is all we're looking for in our life.
If we're thinking about men's mental health, and we're thinking about the challenges that there just is, like it's an epidemic of difficulty for men. I think a lot of people, men, don't know what they want. And I think part of that is we've almost been trained from a young age to do things for other people. So men are meant to be protectors, all of that, and all of that stuff I agree with, it's all good. But if you lean into that in such a way that you forget who you are, and you lose sight of who you are, and you lose sight of what you want, and especially if you've got kids and a missus and a family and everything, and you're constantly...
Which was at some point, by the way, everything that you wanted.
Everything you wanted, exactly.
And then what happened?
You got it. And then what do you do with it?
We stopped. We stopped. Think about it. And also, you got to remember, we have so many people telling us what we can't have. You can't have that. You can't do that. Fucking hell. I built my entire life, probably until I was about 40, just proving people wrong. Fuck you, I can't do that. Fuck you. Watch.
It's a massive motivator.
It is.
I remember when I launched my business and I was told by an old mentor, well, that's never going to make you wealthy. And I went, just watch.
I love that.
And then I went and did it.
But
now literally last year, I basically did exactly what they said I wouldn't be able to do. And then I went, oh, now what? That same thing. And so they have to create that new...
And again, with my business model, it shouldn't really exist. There's nothing really like what we do here. It's a little bit weird. It's quite hard to describe. They're like, what is this thing? So the thing about what you said, which was amazing, we are kind of pushed. We are guided towards this. Okay, finish school, get your GCSEs, go to college, get your A-levels, go to uni, get your degree. At some point in there, it's go get a job. Okay, I've got the job. Okay, now meet a girl. Sometimes it all gets mixed up. Meet a girl. Okay, now what? Get married. And again, sometimes the order changes. Then what? Have kids. Then what?
Keep going.
2 weeks all day a year. Keep going. Keep going on that treadmill. 90 miles an hour to fucking nowhere.
6 kids later.
You're all you're looking forward to is your 2 weeks in Turkey. And your Friday nights. Like, that's okay for some people. But for many people, it's not, and they know it. So,
and I think what's probably important to say here as well is that the answer to that isn't necessarily have a business.
Nah, it's not.
It's about growth and the journey.
It's about growth. It's about transformation. It's about upgrading. It's about discomfort, because I believe that many people get sucked into the trap that life's supposed to be comfortable. It is not. Life is about growth, and growth is always uncomfortable. So if you don't seek out, and I learned this from Dr. John DeMartini, if you don't seek out discomfort that inspires you, you don't seek out challenge that inspires you, you will 1,000,000% attract discomfort and challenge that drains you. So it's like, choose your fucking hard. Choose your hard, choose your difficulty. I'd rather be changing through inspiration than changing through fucking desperation. And that's what people do. They'll change when it gets desperate. I'd rather change for inspiration because I know I'm going to get uncomfortable. I'm almost of this opinion that I know something's going to go wrong. Like, this is why I'm never surprised. I never get too caught up in when things get hard. And I expect, at some point, that I'll want to quit at everything that I do. I want to give up on that. I want to stop doing that. I expect that. I expect challenge. I expect hurdles. I expect people to talk shit. I expect all of that, which means I never get that emotional when it does go wrong. Because if I expect it, it means I've got a system to deal with it. So I expect to lose at something. I expect sales campaigns to tank. I expect marketing campaigns not to work. I expect to get submitted in the gym. I expect my kids to be arseholes sometimes. I expect criticism on the internet. It's like, because I expect it, I'm never surprised. And because I'm never surprised, I don't get too caught up in it. Like, if you start to expect this thing, it makes it so much easier for people.
So do you feel like that's almost like a stoic approach to things, or is it
necessity? Necessity. I've had to learn it. I've had to learn it because I am an emotional guy. I'm not that logical. My son is completely logical. My son's a fighter and a rugby player. So logical. He had his first fight in December. He's 14. He was 13 then. I said, son, I was cornering him. I said, son, it's okay to be nervous. He went, well, what's the point in that?
Wow.
And I didn't have there's no logical explanation. I said, well, you're going to get punched in the face. And he said, I get punched in the face every week at training. What do I say to that?
Yeah.
So logical, but I'm emotional. My daughter's the same. We're emotional. We are quite reactive. So I've had to learn to deal with it because I'd spend me days on the internet arguing with people. Someone would call me something and I'd send them my address. Let's fucking go then, dickhead.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? I'd just lose me shit all the time. And then eventually I was like, I've had to evolve. And part of that evolution is just expecting things to go wrong. And actually, you think about that seems negative. You're told to not do that.
Yeah.
But what it allows me to be is objective. It allows me to create strategy for when things do go wrong. Yeah. For example, I often do keynotes in jails to help the prisoners out, to kind of give them something to inspire them, to feed them something that they wouldn't normally hear. And one of the first gigs I ever did was in a place called McGilligan in Belfast, rough fucking jail, right? I went in, I was already intimidated, and there's fucking 60 guys there, all like fucking Kurt Angle, all fucking big wrestlers, no less, fucking legs twitching, right? Yeah. Projector doesn't work. Then my laptop dies. Didn't have a charger. You're not allowed to take many things into jail. Not allowed to take a bag. Yeah. Took my laptop in on its own. Charger. The battery died on the laptop very quickly. And the microphone didn't work either. But luckily, I'd prepared for those things going wrong. So it was fine. I didn't quit. I didn't say, I'll come back next time. I didn't say, oh shit, what am I going to do? Because I'd prepared for it going wrong. And I actually learned this from my wife. Yeah. My wife is more risk averse than me. She's from a corporate background. She was a lawyer. Mm-hmm. How more risk averse can you get? Right? And I'm an entrepreneur, and I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. So my wife came in, and she'd always like pour scorn on things that I was doing. She would always like doubt me. She would always put in a negative thing. I'm like, why are you so fucking negative? But actually what I've realized is she's just giving me objectivity. Yeah. Just keeping me humble. Just making sure that I've thought the whole thing through. Yeah.
And I hate it when someone does that for me.
So do I. Yeah. It's a fucking blessing. Yeah. It is an absolute blessing because it stops me from making mad decisions. I'm now allowed to... I'm now able to make more informed decisions. I mean, I'm still probably going to do the thing, right? But it means that actually I'm more prepared for everything now. It means I'm never surprised when shit goes sideways. I used to trust everybody. My wife trusts nobody. Mm-hmm. What's in between that? Fucking perfection. Like, literally, not perfection, but like, that's a beautiful concoction. That's a perfect mix. It's yin and yang. It's upsides and downsides. It's positives and negatives. Right in the middle is that objectivity, love, if you like, loving what is. So we get both sides of the coin. Which I think that it's important for people to consider, because I used to think, well, if I'm having negative thoughts, that means I'm negative. It's a bad thing. Mm-hmm. But actually, it's just me brain making sure I'm paying attention. Yeah. It's me brain giving me feedback that I'm making sure I'm looking at all the possibilities. Yeah. And again, that means I don't get too emotional. I don't get too caught up in things when they don't go my way. Yeah.
Because nothing always 100% goes your way.
It's almost like if something's going well, I'm just waiting for something else to happen. Yeah. And I'm never surprised. And again, a lot of people think, well, that's a negative way to think. It's clearly not. Yeah. So we had a great event on Friday. We made, fucking hell, we did a lot of deals already this week. A lot of fucking deals on the back of that event. We didn't even pitch anything. Yeah. But we just get people coming towards us when we run those events and people see what it's like. I'm waiting for something to go wrong. Yeah. Something will go wrong this week. In fact, we got a fucking arsehole on a sales call yesterday. There's the thing. We got this guy that was the most arrogant. I watched the recording back, and the guy was the rudest person I've ever heard. Making no money, right? Rude, giving my sales guy sales advice, but doesn't make any money. Wow. Yeah, I messaged him after and told him he was a prick. So, mate, I saw the way you spoke to my sales team today. I think you're a prick. Yeah. I don't appreciate that. Yeah. And then he went off on one. I just blocked him. But that's the downside to all of those upsides. Upsides is we're making these deals. Downside is we have to deal with the prick. Yeah. But we're never surprised by that. We don't get too emotional. We can laugh at it because we expected it. Yeah, it's such an interesting viewpoint that I agree with. And the way I'm thinking about it in my head now from what you're saying is, and I think this is why a lot of people don't try or don't succeed, because they want the app, but they're not willing to handle the flip of that coin. That's the price always goes with it. Yeah. It is. It's the price. I'm glad you mentioned coin, because one of the things that you said, some people, the answer isn't a sort of business. I agree. Not everyone's cut out for business. Because the cost of entry to the theme park that we call running a successful business is uncertainty, unpredictability, unfamiliarity, criticism, rejection, people talking about behind your back, disloyalty, all of those things. And if you're not willing to pay that price, you're not going to get in the theme park. Yeah. And it's okay to admit you're not willing to pay the price. So Kate, that came in for, we hired Kate a couple of weeks ago, and I said, I saw her CV in that, and I was like, you're fucking good. She was self-employed. And she was a podcast editor, creator. She was doing social media for people. And I was like, you're really fucking good at this. Why do you want this job? And I'm used to hearing bullshit. Yeah. Right? And she said, I can't handle the rejection of being self-employed. Wow. She said, I hated the rejection. I hated people saying no, I don't want you. I hated getting ghosted. And I hated working with people and then saying they don't want to work with me anymore. Yeah. And I was like, I've got so much respect for what you've just said. Yeah. You've got the job now on the spot. Yeah. Like, do you want it? My team were going, so I'll only do the final interviews. My team handle the rest. So my wife and Kath, they were going, well, what we'll do is we'll have a meeting. And we've got some other people, some other candidates to talk to, and we'll send you an email if we think you're right fit. And I was like, shut up. Do you want the fucking job? Yeah. I just appreciate the honesty, but it was an example of it's not for everyone. Yeah. It's not for everyone. And of course, you can train yourself to handle the rejections and the setbacks and the disappointments. You can train yourself to do that. But ultimately, if you're not willing to pay that price, you've got no chance of getting in a theme park. Yeah. And I think it's good to make yourself aware of the downsides. Example, last year I bought a hotel and I was ready to sign the contract, right? It was with a client of mine who, by the way, and again, back to the reliability thing, there's a lot of people who would want me to want to, this sounds really big-headed. I don't mean it to, but if it does, it does. There's a lot of guys who are like, Paul, would you come into business with me? I'd love to start, but would you come in as an investor or a partner? And I was saying, the reason I chose Craig is not just because he's a client. He presented me with a good deal, but I know he's reliable. He shows up to events that we run. If he books someone, he shows up. Doesn't make excuses. Doesn't give me bullshit. He doesn't come to all of them, but he doesn't say he's going to come. So he doesn't come to every event, but the ones he shows up. Yeah. When it comes to accountability inside of our group, he does the work. I can see what he's up to. So he's someone I consider reliable. That sealed the deal. But actually, even then, my wife said, are you fucking serious? You're about to give him all this money? And she looked at the contract, and I'm so glad she did. Because she was like, well, this could go wrong. What are you going to do then? And I was like,
it's good having a lawyer for a wife.
Yeah, it is good having a lawyer for a wife. There was just things that I hadn't considered. Yeah. All of the things she considered. And Craig was even like, fucking hell, I'm glad she came in because there were bits that just weren't right. What could go wrong? This could go wrong. So it's just it's a great thing to have a wife that questions you. We think it's bad. Well, she's not supporting me. Well, do you know why she doesn't support you as well? You're full of shit.
So what do you say to someone, I'm guessing a lot of what you actually do ends up being marriage counselling in a way, but what do you say to someone who has the other half who has no business experience but loves to comment on the business? Yeah. And say, you're doing this wrong, you should be doing it like that. Yeah. What do you say to someone who's having to hear that all the time?
So that happens when they don't trust you. Yeah. And they don't trust you because of how many times you let them down.
Interesting. Yeah.
They don't trust you. And often they don't trust themselves, so often that's just their fear. They're passing their fear on you, which is understandable because what? They've never run a business. Yeah. So you've just got to almost be like, thank you for the feedback. Yeah. And you have to shut them up with results. Yeah. Results are the ultimate reflection of reliability. The ultimate reflection. Yeah. So my wife, I did a keynote on Friday. I was a fat, lying arsehole. I'd say one thing, do another. I'd make promises. I'll stop doing this. I'll stop doing that. I'm going to start going to the gym. I'm going to start working. I was full of shit. So she didn't trust me. And I've had to rebuild that trust with reliability, with keeping them, sticking to commitments, with results essentially. So trust is you think about that. If reliability is the currency of trust, and those two things go hand in hand, and results are the ultimate reflection of reliability, then trust comes from results.
It's really interesting because
stop talking about it. Stop being about it.
What I'm thinking about here as well. So I've always struggled with the quote of everything you do is everything you do. Yeah. I've always struggled with that.
How you do everything is how you do one thing is how you do everything. Yeah, yeah. Bullshit.
And it is, right? So I'm not in bad shape. I'm not in great shape, but my business has done very well. I'm like, well, if I apply that doesn't make sense because the way I do my business is very different to how I do my own health and fitness journey.
Well, it's a reflection of your values. It's a reflection of your highest values. Right? So how I train jiu-jitsu is very different to how I go running because I fucking hate running. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. How I run my business, I mean, I kind of get it. I think you're either reliable or you're not, so to speak. But actually, how I do one thing is, like, I don't cook at all. Yeah. Does that mean I'm lazy? Absolutely I don't value cooking. Yeah. I don't value cooking. Yeah. I don't have to, so I don't. It doesn't mean I'm lazy. Yeah. There's some things in my business that I'm like, well, I'm not doing that. Yeah. Why would I? But that doesn't mean I'm lazy doing everything. It just means mate, I'm so glad you brought this up because I've been wanting to say it for ages and I never have. Yeah. How I do one thing is not how I do everything. No.
It's ridiculous. And it's funny, the lazy thing. So I don't do...
It's a throwaway quote.
Yeah. I don't do any housework. I do very little cooking and all of that stuff. Does that make me lazy? To some people, they think I am. My parents think I'm lazy because they don't understand that my priority and my value and my time and all my energy is spent on stuff which is high value to me and high interest.
And that you love doing.
I absolutely love doing it.
My wife took a long time. Bear in mind, we made our first million in this business 2020. We didn't have a cleaner until like 2022. Because my wife thought that it meant that she was lazy.
Yeah.
I was like, find me another lady that is running a 7-figure company that does their own cleaning. You'll struggle.
Yeah.
You'll struggle.
And who said it's lazy? That's the other thing.
It's just the way we're kind of conditioned to think.
Yeah.
It's lazy. I'm not even sure that laziness exists. I believe that lack of leverage exists. If I had enough leverage to cook, then I would. If Leslie said, listen, tell you what, if you cook us a meal tonight,
it's steak and blowjob night.
It is steak and twisty blowjob night. Twister. I'm probably going to cook the meal.
Yeah, yeah.
Or I'm going to get someone in to cook and pretend that I did.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know what I mean? That's leverage, right?
Yeah.
That's leverage. So, I think that maybe we're not lazy, we just lack leverage.
Yeah.
Like, when there's enough on the line, we can make anything happen.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's such a valid point, man. I'm going to end up diving deeper into this. How we do one thing is how we do everything. Because I'm with you with sort of bullshit.
Yeah. And for me, when I've been thinking about it, because I keep trying to believe it over the years, I'm like, but it just doesn't sit right. No. And for me, it was exactly what you said as well. It was the values thing. I always align to my values in my behavior, in my actions, in my
Everyone does, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, so that I'm doing.
Yeah. Saying something's important to you.
Yeah.
Your life will demonstrate whether it is or not. Your calendar, your schedule. Yeah. We'll always find the time, the money, the energy, the commitment to do things that are really important to us, regardless of what we say.
And honouring yourself, honouring your own word to yourself. This is why I've given
And this is self-awareness.
Yeah. This year I didn't put onto my 2025 goals, learn Spanish. Because every year it's been on there. I've never bloody bothered. So why am I setting myself up for failure?
No bueno.
I'm not going to do it. So I just took it off. I was like, it doesn't make sense.
You just put it on there because other people put it on.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to learn Spanish. Why?
Yeah. Exactly.
So I can speak Spanish in a country where everyone speaks English.
Yeah, true.
I live there. Yeah. Everyone speaks fucking English.
Yeah, yeah.
And if they can't, like, we didn't touch on this, but when I left school, I only had 2 GCSEs. One of them was Spanish.
Really?
Yeah. My Thai massage therapist thinks it's hilarious that I passed only French and Spanish and I failed English. She thinks it's hilarious.
That is funny.
She's like, how can you do that? How can you do that, Paul? Only massage. Naughty boy. But she's like, how can you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I think it's because there was an oral exam.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
There we go. Twisty. So, in terms of the new book then.
Yes.
So, what makes this different to every other book?
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Well, I wrote it like I speak.
Perfect.
So I wrote it like I speak, which is, I think, relatable, northern as fuck.
Yeah.
And essentially, I actually don't think I'm saying anything groundbreaking, but I deliver it in a style that will make it understandable to a normal dude that wouldn't normally pick up a book.
Yeah.
A northern fella that's fucking practical, that wants not to be caught up in fucking theory, not even stoicism. Yeah. There's a bit of stoicism in there, obviously. Yeah. But it's all practical. Like, I believe in practical tools. I believe if I pick up a tool, I can change something. I can change the shape of something. I can change how it looks. Without a tool, it's just fucking more knowledge, expensive knowledge. Yeah. And I believe that society has gotten mentally fat by collecting information. Yeah. Especially now when people are bragging about how many books they've read and how many audiobooks they've listened to this month. Like, well, tell me something you fucking learned then. Yeah, yeah. Even more important than that, tell me something you fucking done as a result of the book you've read. Yeah. If it's nothing, what was the point in collecting the information?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think because I listen to quite a lot of audiobooks when I'm driving or doing this, and I think for me, a lot of it is just about having my head focused on something which is beneficial.
Keeps you out in the game.
Yeah.
Keeps you positive, keeps you in the game, keeps you inspired, yeah. So yeah, the book is about, it's stories from my life, things that I've made happen, things that I've been through, and every section has a practical something at the end. It's write this down, answer this question. Yeah. So there's a lot of, when I said questions are the steering wheel of the mind, we're calling these mind vitamins. You take this vitamin, it's going to change. My whole thing is, can I change the way that someone thinks? If I can change the way someone thinks about something, then they might do something different. Yeah. That's all what I'm about. I don't say things or write things or make videos to piss people off or to trigger them on purpose. I'm just like, I want to get you to think about something in a different way.
Yeah. Which sometimes requires triggering them.
Well, it does.
Yeah.
And some people get triggered and some people get inspired by the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So one of my favorite questions is, well, what do you Someone will tell me about something that's happened, and I'll say, well, what part are you playing in this? Mm-hmm. And they'll either go, well, it's not fucking me, it's that. Or they'll be like, holy shit, it's me.
Yeah.
Some of this is me. So that's an example of, again, someone choosing to be triggered or someone choosing to stay the victim.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the book is stories, lessons, humor, and practical tools.
So if I read that book, what do you think is the number one takeaway I would get? Number one impact on my life that I would get?
That's a wonderful question. I go back to changing the way that you think, but I think my last 2 books have all been the same. The greatest feedback that I get is whenever I talk about stories. So what I mean by stories is your story. Mm-hmm. Cool story, bro. Yeah. So basically the excuses, the justifications, these stories we have about how it's different for us. Mm-hmm. I think what the book will do is fucking wake you up. It'll wake you up out of your fucking sleeping, awake, autopilot mode and get you thinking differently. But again, that's going to depend on you.
Yeah.
So what you're going to get in the book, what you're going to get from the book is what you get out of it.
Yeah. And
that's on you ultimately. But the whole book's about it being on you.
Yeah.
If you want to upgrade your life, you've got to upgrade. If you want to change your business, you've got to change. If you want to change your bank account, you've got to change. I'm convinced that most people don't have a business problem. They have a them problem.
Yeah.
They're the fucking bottleneck. It's their thinking, it's their beliefs, it's their lack of action, it's their energy. It is their limiting beliefs that stop them from growing the business. It's not that they don't know what to do. Yeah. It's that they don't do what they know. They may not know the best way. They may not know the most efficient way. They may not know the fastest way, but everyone knows how to make more money. Yeah. Everyone knows how to make more sales. You make more offers. Yeah. Everyone knows how to get in shape. Yeah. They just don't do it.
Yeah. It's so interesting because I teach a lot of business owners how to take their profits and double them in 12 months through financial market trading. But one of the biggest barriers is a mindset issue, and they almost feel like they don't deserve that level of success, or they don't deserve for their money to do this, they don't deserve for their money to do that. It's absolutely fascinating, the amount of internal blocks that people have about what's acceptable.
Or they're scared of losing money.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people just get so scared of losing money. Yeah. But when you're an employee and when you're an entrepreneur and you get to a certain level, at some point in that journey you realize that money's one of the most replaceable fucking resources going. When you've been in business as long as I have, and you realize that selling is the greatest skill that you can ever learn. Yeah. Like I tell my kids this all the time. My son's choosing his GCSEs, and I'm like, mate, you need to learn how to sell and influence people. Because when you can do that, you can do whatever you want. Yeah. You can sell. If I stopped this today, and I was like, I've had enough of this, I know that I could do something else because I know how to sell. I know how to influence people. I know how to inspire people. I know how to communicate. Yeah.
And even if that's in a corporate setting, you still need to sell.
Well, listen, even if you're trying to get laid, you
yeah.
still need to sell.
Yeah, yeah.
You still need to be able to sell. So all that going together, you then start to understand that actually money flows to the perception of value. Money flows to perceived value. So if you can have people perceive you as being valuable, money's not easy, but your understanding of money changes. Yeah. You want to create more money, create more value. Yeah. Create more value in the marketplace. Demonstrate your value. See yourself as someone of value. Yeah. And that's why I love what I do.
Yeah, yeah.
Because when I get paid, everyone wins. Yeah. I win, the client wins, the family wins, the staff win, the potential clients win. Like, that's a win-win for everybody.
And that goes beyond perceived value, right? So perceived value brings money in, but adding value keeps that money.
Fucking right.
And if you, there's a lot of people in my industry who talk a very good talk, but then they deliver absolute crap. And it frustrates me.
You can only sell dog shit in a can once.
Yeah, yeah.
People will buy dog shit in a can if it's marketed properly. I don't know why I'm pointing at my friend's drink here. But they'll drink dog shit in a can, drink it, liquid dog shit, sorry. I don't know how we're going. They'll do it once, but then that's it. They're not going to do it again. So you fucking bang on, mate. The longer I can keep people in my world, well, this changed my business actually when I understood the concept of customer lifetime value. This business changed for me dramatically when I was like, well, actually, keeping a client, retaining a client, having them spend more money is way easier than getting a stranger to give me money. Yeah. That's what marketing is. We're trying to get strangers to give us money. Yeah. So when I've got guys who are like, Paul, I'm getting all these leads and they're not buying, I'm like, well, dude, remember, 30 seconds before they seen your ad, you didn't exist.
Yeah, yeah.
So why would they buy so quick, especially if it's something that's a bit higher ticket, higher end? Yeah. They're not going to. You're going to have to build some trust. Yeah. Where does that come from? Demonstrating reliability. Yeah. That's all it is. Demonstrating reliability, demonstrating that time spent with you, money spent with you will solve a problem for them, give them whatever that looks like. Yeah. But yeah, it's such an interesting concept, that the money thing and people's mindset around it.
Yeah.
And I think what changed it for me was when I ask people what money is, I get so many, what do you think money is?
Yeah.
It's an energy. What does that mean?
Yeah.
It's this, it's that. It's the root of all evil. If I asked that on my social media, I would get that answer.
Yeah.
What is money? It doesn't make you happy.
Yeah.
Well, I know people with money that are very happy. I know people without money that are very happy. And I've been happy with both. But actually, happiness is temporary anyway.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, when I started believing that money flows to value, my life started changing. Mm-hmm. And my mindset around money, as I saw myself as someone of value.
Yeah. My last question for you then, might be a bit of a big one, but you said something online that I wanted to pick up on and see what the response is.
Wow, this could be anything.
Could be anything. So you said that you have 2 arseholes.
Oh!
What do you mean?
This is not
anatomically.
This is not a split personality. This is, man, of all the questions that I thought you would ask, this is at the bottom of the pile. So I was born with 2 arseholes. One of them is actually, it's called a sacral dimple. It's basically where your tailbone is. I just have a little arsehole sized hole.
Wow.
It's fairly small. My son has the same one.
Wow.
You can fit your finger in it, only the tip of your little finger in it.
Right.
Yeah,
Wow.
It sometimes collects fluff.
Wow.
But
Like a belly button.
Like a little belly button, yeah. It's like a little belly button. But yeah, that's my 2 arseholes.
Wow.
I'm so impressed that you paid attention to that.
Because I was like, I heard it, I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then I was like,
Does it sound like some kind of analogy, or I've got a split personality?
I thought you were going to say like you've got your actual arsehole, but then you also talk so much shit that you may as well have an arsehole up here as well. That's what I thought you were going to say.
No, I have 2 buttholles, yeah.
Wow.
I would show you it, but it's I don't want to get cancelled.
No.
I don't want to get cancelled. I also don't want people getting too excited about watching your YouTube channel, bro. We'll get you banned.
Well, there we go. So thank you very much.
Mate, thank you so much. I had such a great time there. I've done a lot of podcasts and that was a lot of fun.
I'm glad to hear.
Thank you so much, man.
While we're here, Ray, do you mind passing me one of the books that you're...
Yeah, let's get it on.
And then I'll get it on camera just so people know what it looks like.
Do you know why they're there? The other week, last Wednesday, we had the captain of Sunderland in. He's a friend of mine, like I was saying. And he was recording content for his course that he has. And I stacked those books up, just either side of them. I was like, mate, you're going to take this hint? And he's like, yeah, I'll make the post about your book, mate. I've been asking him for fucking months.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right, so I'll just do a bit to camera.
Perfect.
So if you haven't already ordered and bought and read Paul's book, make sure you do it. It's full of practical, applicable stuff, hard-hitting questions. You may get triggered, but it's going to change your life. So make sure you get it and make sure you give it a read.